Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Play Minecraft. So, we've been doing some bee breeding for a while now, and I thought it might be worthwhile doing a little, just basically what I've been doing, like a sort of it could be a guide actually, of how to do bees, but I thought I'd give it a try anyways here. So we start off with basic hive bees. These ones, I call them hive bees, even though some of them are, well, yeah, they're all hive bees, or there's another name for them, but basically they're the early version of everything. So I got, because I was in the end, I did get the Oblivion Ender princesses. The Ender ones are above the surface of the end, and the Oblivion ones are hidden under obsidian, little like obsidian sticking out of the bottom of the end. If you dig up top above the obsidian, you can find them. So these guys, I haven't touched them yet, but they basically their flower, I believe, was the dragon egg, which is kind of cool. Something I'll work with later on. And then we got the sorcerer bees, etc., etc. So we can say we had a forest princess, and we took a forest princess, and we took a meadows drone, and basically what we got was a common over time. So basically 2 hive bees, we got a common bee, and then I took a hive bee, and then I bred it with the common bee, which these are the commons. No, you're the rocky. There you go, with a common. And then when I did that, you can actually see at the top there. Actually, I don't know if that actually means much, but basically I took those two and ta-da, common queen. And then I took the common bee and, I took the hive bee and common bee, and I created a cultivated bee, And then the cultivated bee is these guys here. So I took the cultivated bee and then the common bee, and then over time I got both noble and diligent over time, which I have no clue where all my noble ones are right now, because they should be in here, and yet they aren't in here, so noble ones are like a yellow looking one, which is kind of funny, but this is noble ones. But did I put them in a different chest? I don't know where I put them right now. But anyways, the noble bees are these guys right here. So then what I did was I did it again, because you can get a diligent. So I finally got the diligent one, which is the purple ones here. And then I took a noble and a cultivated one, and I got a majestic. And then I took a diligent bee, and then I took a cultivated again, and I ended up getting unweary bee. Unweary. And then I took a noble bee and a majestic bee, and I got an imperial, an imperial bee. And then I did the same thing again, a diligent bee and an unweary bee, and I got industrious one. And the byproduct of this is pollen. The byproduct of this one is royal jelly. And the reason we're doing this is, in the end, you're going to make an Aliveri. I'm really bad with the spelling, but there you go, an Aliveri. It's a multi-block. I think it's like 3x4x4 or something like that. Anyways, it's a multi-structure beehive with a whole bunch of attachments and different things like that, which is kind of cool. But these scented panels basically require the pollen clusters and the royal jelly, which are from those two. But we found out you can actually use crystalline pollen, which I don't know if one of the mods are adding this, because this is new to us, or at least it seems new. 20% chance anyways to get that from there, and it's a byproduct, so that's kind of cool. The pollen here is produced from the bee itself. You don't get it from the stringy comb, though. It doesn't look like it. No. What do you get from the stringy comb? I don't know if that's bugged or not, but anyways, you get the idea. So that was basically where I am with bees right now, and then eventually I'll go further and further, of course, but sort of a catch-up. The frames I'm using right now is proven frames. Apparently proven frames are semi-what decent to be able to provide you product over time. If life was really perfect, I would try to get a stone bee here. Do we even have our... Let's see here. There we go. If life was really, really awesome, and I was pretty much lucky in a sense, I would take these rocky, I call them stone sometimes, And they only have fertility is 1, which is bad. If you get fertility 1, it means that you can't get 2 drones and you can't kind of like expand. But what's special about these guys is that they're diurnal, which I think is daytime. They're nocturnal, which is nighttime. They're flyer tolerant, which means they can which means they can fly in the rain. And they're cave dwellers, meaning that they can survive underground, basically, so they don't need any sunlight at all, which is also good. So you get quite a bit of everything on them. And their flower, too, is rocks. So literally smooth stone, I think. This rock, maybe not, but smooth stone, we'll just say anyways, is their thing. So that's pretty awesome either way. Did I put it back in there, or... Oh, no, it's in here. I forgot they can stick in here. And so eventually maybe I want to breed that, or maybe I'll get into genetics, or eventually there's gendistry. I think it's much, much higher up, but you get the idea of the bee process. So it's been quite a bit of fun. And then if we look on the map, way over here, Electro and I have been sharing this, where we kind of have a couple there. We might AFK at a time here and there to get some combs via the these kind of combs right here. The silky combs, which we used we'll be able to use, to make your apiary suit, things like that, the upgraded forestry backpacks. Okay, so outside of that, my place is, I think, bigger since we last saw it. It's multi-floored. It's a bit dark right now, so we can't quite see it, but we can swap our armor and use the night vision. We added a shop system to the server. We kind of had to get some donations just to help pay for some costs, but we have all this stuff legit anyways. It's not like it gives you like free armor or anything like that. It's just some like convenience stuff. It doesn't even give you teleportation, but /shop on the in-game if you play. Anyways, yeah, so we got multiple levels here. We'll go in. I'll show you what we have here. This is shut down right now, but basically this is set up to create fences for Electro's rail system. And you see all the logs there we have in there, and it has a lot of the pulp. Basically, it has 4 assemblers. He designed this, which was pretty cool. And we put it together, and yeah, basically I fill it up with fuel, and it runs whenever I want it. Our oil processing is the same. Basically, everything's the same. Got more diamond chests here and there. I think I've shown you this before, but if just in case, refresher. Turbo diesel. This is the HV diesel. Basically, there's a transformer right under there. And there's a wire there, and then there's a transformer right here. And these are both advanced chemical, which I think is HV, and this is HV, and then this is MV. Power, so it gets, of course, translated at that point. I don't know why I said translated, but converted down. And basically, this one gives you the extra little bits. So when you're looking at things to macerate, this is the one that always gives you the wee bits. So let me do this beryllium ore that I recently found. So if we put it in a pulverizer, normally you just get the 1, but with this one, you have a byproduct chance of 10%. And I'm assuming this is another one later on. I don't think that provides that output, so that might be even a further along one. You can get even more out of it. But anyways, you get the idea. And then what you can do is once you put that in there, we could say we'll put them in a thermal centrifuge, and you can take the centrifuge stuff and you can pulverize it a second time, so you can get, say, a 10% chance for emerald. This stuff is meh, but some stuff is actually really important, so it can be handy for little stuff like that. I recently accidentally screwed up and took all my thorium and turned it into bolts. So I just remacerated it down so I can turn it back into the ores from my silly mistakes, which it happens at times. Unfortunately, it looks like unless there's a bolt sitting in here, I think I'm missing a bolt somewhere. Oh, what a pity. It's like I didn't get the full... Oh, I guess maybe I don't get the full thing back. Interesting. Maybe there was a bit of loss somewhere. Whatever. So I could take the thorium dust and just run it through the smelter now. And we're good there. Okay, moving on. I think pretty much everything is about the same here. I haven't touched anything really. If not, I do apologize. I'm not trying to rush this, just, I don't think anything's changed. So I should probably get this suit because I'll get the benefits. This is the second floor, nothing in the second floor. I've done windows here and stuff, just so you can peek out. There's that bridge I was telling you about. We've seen that before. And then we'll work on the third floor. Now, each of these floors have, basically you can do stuff with them. So if we go down here, this is how much space we have in them. So it gives us room to do other stuff in between, which is kind of cool. Wiring, etc. And then, yeah, so this is the, second last floor, I guess. Technically, this would be this last floor in a sense. This is our balcony. Nothing special, just basically lets us work on the top, which actually is something we wanted to do because I actually wanted to do something on here today and show you something I've been building. So the arcane stone we make at the work table, use the clusters, which we've done before, at least I told you about them. Basically, the earth shards, you see all the aspects, and you can make those guys. And then to make the arcane stone bricks, you put them in the laser engraver with a ruby lens, and you get the arcane stone bricks. And then the arcane pedestal, those were a bit more annoying because they cost 20 air aspect, but you have to put a bunch of them together, so you need a lot of these pedestals over time for this, but I'm just doing this. Rune matrix was probably the hardest thing I've done in a sense. Not hardest, but it takes a bit more time and it requires more tech. Basically, you needed the chemical reactor, which was the HV version of it, 480 EU tick, which is the one we have, and that gets you the ender eyes. And then you needed the mixed crystal, which is the balance shards. And the balance shards, we've done this before in the Crucible. Not hard one, but it's annoying. And then you needed, that was it. And you created the runic matrix. And basically, when all said and done, this will let us build. And I don't know where I'm going to do this yet, but you're going to probably want a lot of space for this. So it's up to you where you want it exactly. But let's just set it here for now. And if you redo this, though, you're costing yourself, so keep that in mind. And basically, if I set this up right, we are going to have our first thingy-mabopper. And we'll probably shift-click here. There you go. And click here. And there you go. And then if we right-click something on here. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. It worked. And there we go. So we have our first basically infusion altar, I think they're called. And this will let us do a bunch of things over time. Basically, now you expand it with pedestals. And then you put things on the pedestal to craft. For example, I want to make a void jar here. And I'll explain why I want a void jar here in the future. But basically, I want this void jar. So you put, it's a minor thing, but basically you put all these different things down and you attempt to create this. And you need the different essence, I guess. So you have a warded jar. That's the ingredient. Then you need all these aspects, which you would get. I believe you have to put them in a jar, the aspects, so you would melt them down, etc. We won't get that done in this episode. I will eventually have something set up and actually show you in action, but I still have to put the pedestals and a whole bunch of other things. You put like zombie heads and stuff like that. The reason you do that is they'll start dropping on the ground and you want to prevent it from dropping on the ground, so you have to try to keep the warp or whatever away as much as possible. So over here we have the alchemic furnace. I won't go through the the ingredients and whatnot because you guys can figure this one out. And this is the arcane alembic. I don't know how to spell it. Basically, it's a storage tank for some of the liquids. So I'll show you what I've been doing actually. I would take great wood logs, for example, and I would put them in here as non-fuel, and I would just grab a piece of fuel. And to be honest, you probably don't. Oh yeah, I can't break those down. That's probably a bit too much fuel for what I need. I actually could go with one of these, to be honest, and that would be more than enough. And basically, I fill this up and I put a piece of fuel in here. What it does is it breaks down the wood. So great wood log give you 3 of the arbor or whatever, and 1 of the predo something, the magic. And they give you those aspects, right? well, when you throw them in a crucible, the little crucible here normally, that's the aspects you get. So you would get 3 of those, 1 of those when you throw them in there. And then what I would do, as you guys would remember, is I would dump the aspects into the crucible, just throwing the great wood, and then I would throw something in it like a piece of iron to get myself thaumium ingots, of course. So that works still, but this is doing it liquid based, which is kind of cool. Now, I don't like this Abor or whatever because I have no use for it. So what I do is I shift right click and get rid of it, and I keep that stuff because that's the good stuff. And then what I can do is use this setup here, which is called the Alchemic construct. Basically, it's like your tier 2 version of the Crucible, but instead of feeding it all the different, basically instead of having to throw everything in the crucible item-wise and let it melt down and have the vis and everything leaking and make a mess, we can hook it up with warded jars using the Essentia tubes. So this setup was actually set up already for the prime balance shards, and I needed 2 of everything, which I've already actually done and completed, and that's all over and done. And that one was actually not too difficult, and I'll tell you quickly for people who might want to know this, but basically, if I can find it here, let's see, full comments. Okay, basically 1 gunpowder gives you 4 ignis and 4 peridot, and then 4 chiseled stone bricks will give you 4 terra and 4 ordo, and 4 water from Pam's Harvest Craft. That's putting a bucket of water into your crafting grid just alone will give you 1 a bucket will give you 4 of her waters, which will equal 4 aqua. And then you would put 2 air shards in here. So you put 2 air shards in here, for example, and then you would get a balance shard, and it would literally pull all this and suck it into there. So I will actually show you here how that works with just one of these. So basically what I'll do is I'll right click this, and have you done your stuff? Yeah. Basically, I'll right click this and I will hook this up like so. And you can see it's hooked up. But now what I'll do is I'll right click this and I will change this, to iron ingot. And it's a thaumium ingot. So you click that and you can see it's actually creating it now. So 2, and you can see it actually sucking it out of there. Look how fast, look how decent this was. And I did this without the hassle of meltdowns and all the crazy stuff. Of course, you would, do this a little higher, but it works out well. And then I found out you can do even a bit better than this. You can kind of filter things out over time. And the way you can filter things out is basically you can, let's break these 2 for now. The way you would filter things out is basically your tank's full of stuff. For example, let's just say this guy, and I don't have another one of the other guys right now, especially since we spent it, but let's just get an empty tank here, and here you go, essence, and this is just a normal guy. But basically you can use your these guys here, the empty jars. Here you go, glass file. There you go. And you can basically right-click these and grab the essence. I think you can actually grab them directly from these as well. I wonder if you can put back at. I've never tried that, actually, but no. I wonder if you can get rid of these like this. No. But anyways, when you right-click, this won't work because it's filtered. Interesting, right? But if we go ahead and break this and place this down, this has no label on it. It will fill up, but we can pull it out. But you won't be able to do it to this one because it's filtered, and it's filtered with the, we'll call it the purple juice right now. So basically what you want to do is you want to grab yourself a purple juice and you want to make yourselves these jar labels. These jar labels act as a filter system. Now, originally I did this and it worked out, but it didn't work out. I want like this. So I want 1, 2, thank you. And then I want, say 1, 2, thank you. And I just went ahead and I put a jar label here and here. And so basically I was like, okay, that's good. And then I turned this on, and here we go. Everything went pretty good. Now, a problem here is, okay, I want to put them in the pipes here. So what I'll do is I will get some of the Essentia piping here. And I says, okay, I want to bring my magic. Let's bring it over here because I'm going to probably hook it up almost directly to this over time. And that's kind of what I want. So what I will do is I'll put this here. And there you go. But then at times it was starting to smoke. Now it's working good here, and that's not a problem. But I've had it where it would start smoking over time. And now for this filter one, we go over here, and then we'll just work down. And then there we go. And then I started to add the other jar, so I can go, okay, I don't need this jar. Don't need that jar, this jar. These are for later. You can keep the tubes there. I don't think it'll cause any harm, to be honest. But then I would put these guys down like this, like this, like this, like this. But over time, I had leaks. It would cause leaks like this. And I couldn't really figure out a way to prevent it from actually leaking out. It was getting really annoying. It would just do it over and over. And in the end, I found that the system is basically glitched. That's just how it is, unfortunately. So I found the cure to being basically like this. Put labels on everything. And when you do that, it just all of a sudden is magical. Oh, I put that one in the wrong spot anyways. But basically, it bursts magic in a sense, and it just works now. It doesn't glitch up and do the whole smoke effect. And the smoke effect stuff is bad, because apparently that's spreading this in the air, and this could end up turning this biome into a tainted biome, for example. And that's a bad thing, of course, as you guys know. But this makes it work out, and then this way I can, pump the stuff in directly into there. So we made another 7, and we can keep going and going, and it's slowly filling up. So this stuff should be getting actually. Oh yeah, it's sort of. This is the part I always get a little confused. But I think it's holding this stuff. Oh yeah, it's just holding that stuff back right now. Now you can use aluminum to do this a little faster, but it kind of sucks. So right now I would just recommend doing this. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting. I'm going to just shift click these and get rid of them. So I have a bunch of these as a buffer, but if I'm doing like large batches or automating this to the point where I'm going to go to bed and leave a whole bunch of this running, it doesn't work out so well because these will fill up, and of course somebody has to be here to shift right click them or shift right click them out of here, etc. Be careful, if you shift click you'll lose the label itself, so keep that in mind. But anyways, so the void jar itself will basically fill up like a normal jar, but once it gets too full, it will void it, which is kind of cool because if you had a whole big automated setup over time, what it allows you to do is basically keep jars full of different ones, but at the same time not too full. Like, you need 10 jars for one material if that's something you're not interested in. But anyway, so I could put a void jar here, get rid of the excess amount and not have to worry about breaking them, and then have this setup automatically feed in there, for example, and make thaumium ingots if I wanted to. But either way, that is pretty much the update on Thaumcraft. The last thing of Thaumcraft I have for you is bookshelves. Thanks to a guy on our player, Oko something, I think his name was random, I don't know. Anyways, he said when you do the bookshelves, apparently your aspects will slowly regenerate. He was right and wrong. I had to do a little research, and Electro did some research. Basically, you see these little star things here? If you use clusters or bookshelves, apparently what happens is you can't basically waste them for good. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm gonna do it for fun. Okay, so for example, this we've just wasted that guy is gone. He's over with. Well, the thing about it is he will come back. You will only get one, but he will come back from the dead, basically. And that's sort of the idea of this. Over time, it will regenerate and fill it. Of course, we can take the air and aqua and fill it up anyways in there. That's why those are there, if you didn't know that. So you can go like this, for example, air and then aqua, and get exactly that. But there you go. But you get the idea. It will fill those in over time with one. So you can't really technically run completely out. You can temporarily run out, but you can get them back again here and there. So those super rare ones where it's just like 1 or 2 and you don't really need them over time, it helps out. But of course, if you hover over any of these, they usually tell you what you can mix them. Not all of them, but most of them should have something you can create them. Like ingots right now, I can't. I'm thinking I'm missing something that I didn't scan for that, but eventually I should be able to, of course. One thing I've never tried, I don't know, but can I scan these? No, they come up the warded jar. I was kind of wondering if I can scan those. But I think I scanned all this new stuff, so. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much an update. Basically, I'm going to keep working on the magic stuff a bit more. Expand it. I'm going to work on the bees, of course, down there. And I'm just going to continue going and having fun. Outside of that, I don't think much has changed, besides getting my building up and running. Tech-wise, I haven't really changed anything at all. Yeah, I think that honestly pretty much sums up what we've been doing. And till next time, basically, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, all that fun stuff. And we'll see wonderful people next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.